All right, guys. So we're back here again, and this is the breakdown of what I've designed, and essentially, it's a digital business model canvas. So here we're going to kick off the series, and this series is really going to be about taking a deep dive into why the business model canvas is valuable, and how it could work across different levels of business, micro businesses straight up to enterprise um, entities, right? So I just want people to know that this is version one. Of course, we're going to continuously improve. It's going to be free. Um, there's going to be a link for it on ocphillips.com. You're going to see the button markup, digital canvas, something similar to that. And you're just going to have to download. There's going to be a filled out version, which you're going to run through now. And then there's going to be a blank one that you guys could edit and put in what you think that you should, right? All right, so let's kick it off. So you've seen a lot of things on the screen. So we're going to essentially start from left to right, to put it in some order so that people could understand, right? So this is built on the exact framework of an existing business model canvas, right? Which would have value proposition and all these key indicators, key resources, and all these other things. I replace those with what I think that businesses need for digital. Now, a lot of people mix up digital. There's different layers of it, and that's going to be in the next series. I will break down everything from a digital business right down to a digital workplace and remote working, the whole 9 yards. This essentially talks about what a digital business is, which is the end goal after we do digital transformation. So kickoff would be digital readiness, digital audit, see where you are, market analysis, market research, and the different layers, which would come again in a separate video. But this canvas you could use as a framework, and this would guide you, like whether you want to use it as a checklist or you actually want to add in things into it, right? So we're not going to make this video too long, as it's just going to summarize everything and run through. And after that, we're going to break down the parts. So there's going to be a video on digital interactions right across the digital strategy and what it is, right? So we're kicking off digital interactions, right? And it basically says reimagine business experiences by leveraging the right context and data and transforming into immersive image engagement and providing a seamless, hyper-personalized experience, right? So what that really says is, what are the digital interactions that people would have with your brand? And these are the things that would fall into it that would give you or give the customer digital interactions. Now, to just jump forward a little bit, digital customer experience is the sum of those digital interactions. So you see there's already synergies that's there, right? And you can see the entire document tying into itself. So under digital and interactions, you would have digital marketing and digital marketing strategies. What do you do? How do you communicate that value over digital channels to your customer, or your ideal customer? Then you have social media strategy or social media optimization. How do you communicate that same value that you're offering in a business model, right, to your clients? How do you communicate that over social media channels, right? There's a strategy behind that. Each platform or each social media platform has a different psychology behind it. The way somebody looks at Instagram compared to TikTok, compared to LinkedIn, are all three different stuff. The terminologies that you use, the communication that you use on different platforms will be different. So everything, influencer marketing, the SEO, the way people reach, how they see your page, your search engine response, and the whole 9 yards. Mobile marketing, we all know mobile connectivity has increased, especially since the pandemic. So that in itself should have a specific strategy behind how are you going to capture your clients over mobile. Content marketing, content that you put out to answer the questions that will drive your inbound. Digital PR, branding, whatever concepts and campaigns that you bring out that would reach your customer. Reputation management, feedback, how you're going to deal in terms of testimonial, stuff like that. Search engine marketing, if you want to use paid interactions also. So all of that will fit into your sum of digital interactions, right? So collectively, each one of them would require something different. Some may require on-page strategy or social media strategy, or a digital marketing strategy, or on a website strategy. And then some will require off-site or off-page one, which means that what you need to do in your business to get those things done. All right? We're going across the top. Digital innovation now, right? A lot of people just talk innovation, but when I talk about innovation, we're talking about how are you going to realign your strategies and implement digital innovation using tools and methods to help your company protect, right, its competitiveness in a rapidly changing world through systemic innovation management, right? That all of that really says, how are you going to remain competitive in the global landscape? Because as we know, businesses in different malls, whether it's a mall in Jamaica, it's a mall in Panama, or a mall in Trinidad, somebody walking in, you're immediately a competitor to Amazon. Because if they see too much of a price, they will go directly to Amazon and get it. So you have to remain competitive. How do you do that? Continuously look at opportunities. There's tools, opportunities matrix, opportunity solution trees. There's digital transformation frameworks that has to do with innovation. There's employee innovation. How do you get your staff that's working there? How are they going to chip in? How are they going to help the business grow? Because they have ideas. It's not just a dictatorship where the boss sits and say, all right, we're doing X, Y, Z. You know, so you have the employees involved. They would have ideas. They're on the ground. They would see the change. They're dealing with customers, right? So they could give proper feedback, and they could probably implement strategies that could generate new business, right? And then they could go on to champion those markets, right? And then we have open innovation, which is just a broad topic, but it depends on the type of vertical you're into, and the different types of innovations will fall into it. But open innovation is always safe because it means that people have an open mind that the business could take different turns. A lot of people would know Nokia, didn't know Nokia started off as a paper and a company in agriculture. People know Nokia for tech, right? Nokia was a paper mill. They used to produce paper like copyright, big stacks of paper that goes into printer. A lot of people don't know that, right? Also, a lot of people don't know companies, how they innovated over the years and how they shifted. You never know where you could end up, but it's beautiful that you know what's possible, right? Most recently, we look at Tesla. Tesla, known for cars and electronic vehicles. Tesla had a tequila that was sold out, and then more recently, last 2 days, you see Tesla doing launching for a patent or a business registration for a restaurant, right? Who knows? Tesla might use a restaurant as a loss leader to say, here's what's going on. Come and charge your car here. You might get free fries, or you might get a free meal, right? To drive that consumer traffic for people who may not be having easy access to chargers, right? That's the type of thinking that innovative minds have, and thinking outside the box, right? Here we have digital and technology, right? So this is basically what technology or digital tools you're going to use to create new value in your business models, consumer experiences, and the internal capabilities that shape the core of your operations, right? So this is basically the type of technologies you're going to use. Front-end technologies that are consumer-facing, where they're using digital customer experience platforms, where they're using portals, where they're just using a website, where they're using a CRM. There's different front-end ones. That would be different from what you use in the back-end. Some may be connected, but some may just have a different dashboard for consumers to do it. How do you do that? And then internal systems, back-end technology may be like accounting software that the customers may not use. Internally may use invoicing software, stuff like that, right? What do you need in terms of IT and ICT, hardware, information technology and information communication technology? How do you use it? Whether it's from your broadband provider to if you have a server, to if you need cybersecurity, different things. What are your needs, right? In that. And then there's business technology, right? There are different technology that's specific for different business that people tailor. Whether it's logistics, whether it's different stuff, different types of technology that you could use. Or if you want to go down that custom technology road, there's always that you could create your own scenario depending on size and scale of your business, right? All of these things could be found in free or close to free or subscription-based pricing. So again, it falls under almost any business. And then you have MarTech and AdTech. MarTech is essentially, like you say, business technology in different forms, but MarTech is marketing technology tools that are there to automate marketing as you're going to reach a global audience digitally. And then ad tech is advertising technology. So all of these just fall into different brackets, and it just shows the digital or technology that you could use, right? Technology is anything that would improve your business, make it faster, better, cheaper. So it doesn't necessarily always mean that it's something digital. Hence, I put digital and technology. So depending on the industry, if you're in farming, technology could be a better tractor. But technology could also be IoT sensors that could give your plants water when a monitor tells you that the soil is getting too dry, right? And then we get into digital business models, right? A business model is basically focusing on harnessing digital technologies to create a value proposition, or basically how do you deliver value to your customers and get paid for it, right? So there's digital business model, and there's a digital operational model. So this business model means that, all right, how do we produce ABC or whatever our service or product is to the customer, and the people buy? Because people buy where perceived value exceeds price. So how do we communicate that, or how do we deliver that, and how do we get paid for it? Most importantly, we're in business, we must get paid, right? And before we go to the other one, both of them would be involved or be built on three things: people, process, and technology, right? People are the multiplier. Processes are the day-to-day, what is in the system, so that if the people change, the systems that work. Processes how to do something over and over, a framework, right? And the technology would be different types of technology that could fall into the other bracket that we used before, or different types of technology that may be used on a case-by-case basis, right? And then your operational model is in how you control that internal value or scale up the value chain. People who hear me talk about value chain, a lot of people don't understand. So basically, value chain is how do I go further vertical? Meaning, if I'm a retailer, how do I go up vertically? Meaning, how do I cut out the middleman? How do I become a supplier? How do I get if I retail in meat or goods, right? Chicken, fish, pork. How do I not buy from somebody who supplies? Or how do I get a piece of land? How do I supply it? How do I grow the pig so that I can cut out this and then I can drop my overall cost? How I control the entire value chain of the business, right? So we move it, digital customer experience. And that is the sum of the overall experiences that that somebody has with your brand. Now, technically, businesses tend to think that consumers look at your interactions differently. So customer experience is no longer somebody coming to your business and leaving with a smile. What if they shop digitally, right? How are they going to navigate through your website or your portal? The questions that they would have asked the front desk staff, are they able to answer? Are they able to ask that online? But are they able to get an answer, right? Are they able to look for self-service, meaning that I could go in there if I know enough and conduct my own transactions seamlessly, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning, if I sleep all day, right? So we're looking at, under that, we're looking at things like digital consumers, consumer habits, everything. ZMOT, that stands for zero moment of truth. And Google kind of define what are zero moments of truth. So they coined a couple moments, right? And they have changed their whole inbound model because of that. And those moments are, what are those moments of truth when somebody picks up a phone and Googles something? Is it that I want to buy? Is it that I want to know? Is it that I want to see? Is it that I want to be educated? Right? So when you search, those moments of truth could either be how to do this, or where do I get this, or how do I know how to change a battery? How do I know to fix my car? Or a moment of truth could be who sells phones, because my phone just mashed up. And your company must be able to be at that call, at that zero moment of truth, or that micro moment that somebody says, all right, I need a phone now. Your phone has, your company has to show up, whether it's by geolocation or whether it's just by keywords, right? Same thing for micro moments, right? Self-service, can a customer come to your portal and do the exact same thing, or come to your website and basically check myself out without talking to somebody. Omni-channel interactions. How does a consumer interact with your brand across different channels? Will they get the same experience or similar experience from social media to our website, or is one more frustrating than one? Right? Channel flexibility. How flexible is it that they can navigate? Whether it's if they start an interaction on a cell phone, could they move to a laptop and have the same thing? So different channels, different flexibility, and then reachability, right? And then we dive down into digital experience, which is different from customer experience, right? And it says as digitization becomes a top priority, all the elements of a digital platform must promote one goal: creating valuable, memorable experience that creates, connects, and inspires an emotional reaction. And that is global, as people talk about storytelling and stuff like that, right? How do you tell stories in blogs? How do you your Instagram stories? Like how you reach your customer on an emotional level, right? So there's an experience strategy. Then there's user experience, user interface, user experience. How people navigate across your site or across your platforms in breadcrumbs. How do they make educated decisions? How do they come from one part of your digital asset and how they move across from or the old funnel would be from awareness to buying. So you have the people in digital customer experience who in that zero moment of truth who would buy on the fly. And then they have people who now would come and search and gradually buy in a different format. So how do you cover both of them? So essentially, those two things fall under, if somebody types, it's Friday night and somebody say, I'm looking for a hairstyle because they just get a last minute text going out. How does your brand give them a hairstyle that would take them 5 minutes, right? Instead of a hairstyle where they have to go to a salon and sit for 2 hours because of the time. And that's how granular search has become and digital is. So if somebody searches something at a certain time, your business should answer correctly. Otherwise, you would lose money, right? You're losing a sale, right? So you're looking at that user experience, how your website design, the technology design, and essentially e-commerce that falls under that. But it could fall under any other aspect of the business model. E-commerce is basically how you sell a product, a service, or anything, right? And you'll see it lower down in revenue, right? And then we are into digital strategy. So a lot of people mix up digital strategy and digital marketing strategy. They're two different things, right? Digital strategy is the application of digital technologies to business models. So you're applying this to the business model, right? You understand? And you could also apply it to your operational model that will complement the two and make it into a triangle to form new differentiating business capabilities. You understand? Digital marketing strategy is how you communicate your brand voice or your value proposition over digital channels. Digital strategy differs, right? How do you apply digital technologies to business models? So you're applying this to your business model, right? The core model. You could also apply it to your operational model. And then you have questions to ask. Does digital technology change the business that you should be in? Right? So you had to ask yourself that. If you are fully brick and mortar, should I go hybrid? Or should I go fully digital and turn into a digital business? You understand? How could digital technology improve the way I add value? Right? Could digital technology change your target customer? If your target customer was foot traffic, how does that change now that everybody's online? Right? Does digital technology affect the value proposition of your target customer? Value proposition is what differentiates you. Now you're in a digital waters or digital ocean and you have to navigate differently, right? And then how can digital enhance the enterprise capabilities that differentiate you from your competition? That's where it comes into your operational model, right? Because businesses don't compete with businesses. Value chains compete with value chains. So just to put a context to it, I like to use this example when I'm talking to anybody. In Trinidad, we have KFC and we have Royal Castle. Basically, two of the biggest fast food franchise or fried chicken franchises here. We have one KFC with a lot more outlets, but we have KFC that started delivery more than probably 20 years ago, right? Because they realized if somebody wants a product and they can't come to us, we must be able to go to them. However, Royal Castle just started delivery in the pandemic, right? And if you have to ask anybody who's the bigger brand, some 9 out of 10 people or 10 out of 10 people would say KFC, because the value chain of KFC is way better than the value chain of Royal Castle, even though they sell the exact same thing. Chicken, fries, go right down to the sides, right? They probably have more than 80% similar offerings: fries, chicken, coleslaw, this, that. So, but the value chain of KFC is different to the value chain of Royal Castle. That's why one could declare 300 and something million dollars profit at the end of the year, and one can't, or at least declare that much. All right. So we kind of need to understand where we sit from a business standpoint, and then we jump into digital Capex and Opex. Right. So for those who don't know, Capex is short for capital expenditure. Opex is short for operational expenditure. Right. And we're looking at it. Capex is usually what you spend upfront to jump into something, and Opex is basically your ongoing cost or your operational cost on a monthly basis. So how this ties into it is, all right, if you're transitioning into digital, there may be some upfront costs you may need to do, whether it's to outsource to somebody to build a technology, whether it's to pay upfront costs, right? Or to pay a license cost, a consultant, resources, different things. And how do you look for that break-even point? How do you price your product now that you have to add in this additional cost in? What is your break-even point? How much digital products you have to sell on a monthly basis to sustain this? Just like rent. If your brick and mortar rent is 10,000, you know that you have to sell 10,000 in whatever product you're selling to get your head above water, and then you start to make for any other things. But also your product pricing says, if your product costs $5 to make and you're selling it for $10, then you have $5 added on. And you can now say, here's what, $1 goes to the light bill, $1 goes to rent, $1 goes to staff, $1 goes to transport and logistics, and $1 goes to profit, right? So you have to get as granular as that, but it's tough for people because they don't see digital as a physical asset. So it's hard for them to kind of put a monetary value around it and do the calculations, right? So basically, harnessing emerging technologies and building a digital capability could help take capital project delivery, right, and operations to a new frontier of efficiency and control to foster market-leading performance. So basically, how do you use your Capex and Opex to foster market-leading performance? And it starts, a couple of things you have to look into is how are you going to upskill your teams, right? Human resource is the best resource. You know, there's always that picture going around all over social media for years now. If you train staff and they leave, and then somebody else is like, what if we don't train them and they leave? You understand? It's worse than if we don't train them and they stay, right? So everybody who going on this digital journey has to be rowing. You can't have people drilling holes in the ship while you're rowing. So people has to upskill. Forget all the degrees that somebody did 10 years ago. There are relevant technologies that are changing rapidly. Everybody needs to upskill. Short courses, everything, upskill. Technology course, software course, hardware course, laptops, especially for people who working from home, all these things are cost. Opportunity cost is an opportunity cost that you would lose if you don't move fast enough to digital, meaning that if somebody moves first to market, or even better at you, it will cost you a lot more to gain and win back that customer when you're looking at your customer acquisition cost or your marketing spend or how much your marketing budget is. So you have to take into consideration that opportunity cost. Economic rent is the price you pay added on basically for a location. If rent in a back road quite in the countryside is $2,000, and then rent in town in the main hub where has all the foot traffic is $10,000 for the same size property, 10 versus 2, then $8,000 is that economic rent you're paying basically for being in that location and driving traffic. Digital is different, right? Economic rent digitally is how do you basically gain market share. That falls into SEO. That says how are you being found when people are looking for you, but not just from a physical place, but anywhere. If you could deliver a digital product or a digital service remotely, then somebody could call you anywhere and find your product from Pakistan, right? And then that ties into things like customer share of wallet, how much are your customers spending on you versus other competitors, and all these other things. And then there's a causeway growth strategy. Do you need to bring in new people? Do you need to inject some capital into something now, and then you make the money down the road? And then there's a cost for risk. What is the risk of not doing it? But then there's also a risk of doing it, right? If you get it wrong, because you could get digital wrong. Again, we keep trying to use our IT guy or hardware IT guy as a Swiss Army knife. All right, you have an IT guy. This consultant charging 10,000 a month. We don't want to spend that. So IT guy, you're now in charge of marketing. You're in charge of SEO. You're in charge of digital. IT guy don't have a clue. Now you're running things down the road, right? And then you look at asset amortization, right? Meaning that digital asset that you're building, how are you going to amortize it across the books? Just like finance people do, capitalizing for physical stuff. So businesses that buy a vehicle or a car, they capitalize it, mean that they depreciate the asset over the books based on usage over a period of time. You could do the same for a digital asset, right? And then revenue versus market share. Revenue versus market share really states, do you really want to just make a lot of money, or do you want to grow a market share, have a bigger ecosystem or a fan base that you could upsell them or add on different new revenue streams, or even partner with different people and sell them different things, right? So how do you generate income from a digital asset? By using multiple monetization strategies. How do you gain market share from the global market? Depends on if you are focusing on profit or digital market share, right? So you could come out and you could sell one product for $100 and make $50 on it. Or you could sell it for $60, $70 and gain market share. Of course, it depends on how you look at it. But a lot of people, because they realize that digital has a high price now, that they want to pass back on that price to customers one time. And a lot of people don't like to think mass. A lot of people don't like to think, all right, if I have 1 million customers, I could sell them something for $1. They rather have 200 customers and try to make $40 off of each customer, right? So revenue versus market share could be made either with digital assets, websites, books, different things that you could come up depending on your industry. Digital products or physical products, how do you sell these things? You could get revenue from that. You could get revenue from digital products also, physical products. You get revenue from services. You could get revenue from content. You could get revenue from affiliate marketing, traffic, ads. You could get revenue from e-commerce in different ways. Affiliate marketing, drop shipping, where you don't have any actual inventory or anything. Vast, you could get money from revenue from value-added services. Means that somewhere in your industry there could be a lot of things that you could just add on as a value add, and then there are hidden revenue generation models that could be brought on, like Amazon. They anything in excess they sell. They needed web services and cloud services. They build it. They realize they have excess to sell it. Greatly, I think recent times Amazon is now looking to do a data center in Ireland. One of the biggest problems with data center is the heat that's pushed off of it. Now they're in a deal with the Ireland government that they could sell them back heat to heat homes and use it as the picture is basically like a clean energy. We don't want to burn fuel. It's good for the ecosystem, stuff like that. That's the kind of thinking that we need, and that will come from, again, innovation and how people look at it, right? So that is basically just an overview. I didn't want to take too long. We're approaching the 30-minute mark, and this is just a quick summary of what this business model canvas that I basically created here. I think that this holistically is a good place to start. And as you can see, it's version 1. We will get to ideally version 2 or 3 at some point, as I keep redefining it. But these are the things that I found to be similar across multiple industries, across multiple verticals, based on projects that I've done. And I highly think that this is a good place that any business could start, right? So as usual, follow me on all social media channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Get ocphillips.com where you could download this. And you would have this, and you'd have a blank canvas that you could use. And this would be there as a guide. This video will be up on YouTube and all my channels also as a guide that you could just look through. And then stay tuned. We're going to break down everything else. So you're going to have a video on digital interactions by itself, innovation, business models, strategy. Come right down, right? Thank you guys for your time. As I say, I was really excited for developing this. Let me know what the feedback is. I would always be there to change it and throw it around, maybe mix around a couple of things, or maybe as a landscape changes that I need to change different things. But again, this is a free resource that you guys could use to build it out. Let me know any feedback. Let me know in the comments what your feedback is and how could I improve, right? Thank you guys.